Hello, hello. Welcome to the SEO party. My name is Timmy. We have Alexakis, and we have Naveed producing. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday indeed. Yes.
Yeah, it comes after Monday. I'll take Tuesday. Monday's busy. Monday's always I like
Same with
Tuesdays.
me. Mondays are horrible, but
Yeah.
at least this week we have something fun to look forward to.
Oh yeah.
Next week, right? So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Meet you guys at the Brighton SEO. That would be fun.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego.
It'll be yep.
San Diego.
2 days of excitement, learning, networking. I think it's a pretty nicely put conference. Probably the largest one in the country now when it comes to SEO.
Yeah, that's great.
So
And it's I'm looking forward to, because I know a lot of because it's a large conference, all the tools are gonna be there, and I know right now the trending item is like all the tracking issues every tracker has, right? So it's all over in every SEO publication. So I truly wonder, how they're gonna be prepared to answer some of the stuff and what that you're gonna try to figure out for the tools, So that's gonna be exciting to see. So
yeah, a lot of AI overview tools I'm expecting. So it'll be
Yep.
interesting to see. There's
Yep.
a couple of good ones I'm looking forward to. Friends of mine have put some good products together. I think they're going to be there, so it'll be nice to see what's going on. Ahrefs, have you used Ahrefs AI overviews track? I know it shows up now.
Yes, I haven't seen any issues on mine. So I do pay extra for it, which is a little bit ridiculously expensive for the price point, for what you get, right? But yeah, we do use it. I didn't see any issues on tracking. Like it didn't look broken on my end. But again, I'm not on top of it all day long. I just want to know, if the sites that I'm tracking actually, if we're showing up on AI overviews and other different AI tools. But I haven't seen an issue, but I haven't really been digging in it to find any. So
Yeah, I played around with it a little bit. I think I think they've done a good job. It's Ahrefs, so it looks very consistent so far. So I'm excited to see as the technology advances, what else can we do with it?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. How was your Muay Thai yesterday?
It was brutal, like always. So, yeah, it's fun.
Like,
It
what are you
was.
doing it for?
And what
What is
exactly
it?
is Muay Thai? You said
It's like
Muay
a
Thai?
martial arts.
Martial arts.
So yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. The fighting thing, and I get too bored. I cannot go lift weights and stuff like that. It's not in my brain. So I go there usually once or twice a week for 1 or 2 hours, and it's fun, man. You go there and you work out with people and you learn things, and a lot of it is learning, right? Like patterns and understanding, like repeating over and over and over. And I'm always surprised on how difficult it is a lot of times to remember what to do, like the steps. Like
Mm-hmm.
like yesterday they were doing one that was like, for every like jab you get, you have to throw a jab back, and then the other person does a combo, and then you get into the rotation. You're like, okay, dude, like I'm confused what we're doing here. So but it's fun, and everybody was confused yesterday. So but it gives another perspective on when you watch the fighting, right? To understand that these guys that truly masters, or not just like know how to hit somebody, understanding patterns and remembering all these different combos and combinations, and how it's amazing. So
Yeah,
it's good for the mind
Timmy,
and body.
Yeah, it's a Thai kickboxing. Essentially, that's what
Okay.
Muay Thai is.
Yeah.
A lot of discipline. Do you get bruised at all with all the sparring and stuff, or?
Sometimes, I mean, like, we tried it when we practice, we try not to hit each other on the face. Sometimes you get hit in the face. I get bruises usually on my legs and shins a lot. Like my shins always hurt from
Yeah.
just checking kicks or getting kicked.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do
Well,
conditioning, which is, so yeah,
yeah, you
it
really
all
have to
depends.
condition your shins to be able to take all that, all that damage, because it's a lot, but I remember when I used to do jiu-jitsu, I would get bruises all the time. I was lighter, get thrown around a lot. Not
Yep.
anymore. I need to get back into it. But
It's good,
yeah,
man. Keeps you young for sure.
yeah,
Like I need it. So it's great.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of discipline, and uh, you have to organize yourself, right? The thoughts, the the structure of how the bout's gonna go at that time. So it's yeah, awesome, man. I'm glad you're able to take time out and do it.
I'm
It's
excited. Yeah, no, good.
yeah,
And we-
it makes
b-
sense with
then-
yeah, it makes sense with how you the discipline that you get out of it. It probably shows in your work as well, because I see it on the website stuff that you do. I think
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that has a part to play in it.
It's repetition, on everything, and a lot of times, repetition is boring, right? Like a lot of the stuff we do in reality sounds super exciting, right? But when it comes down to it, it's super boring, right? Like, and it's repetitive, and the more you do it, the better you become, and the more you do it, you start seeing patterns, right? In everything, you start seeing patterns on websites, patterns in traffic, patterns in when you fight in the fighters, so yeah, no, it definitely it's a good place to be, and it definitely it helps, right? Like and and from my background, from art, like everything is repetition and everything's process, right? Like you cannot paint something out of nowhere, right? Like you have to think things through and plan it out carefully, right? Um, So yeah, everything we're doing is, I mean, same with you guys, repetition and looking things over and over and over.
So, Alex, the last time we had you on the podcast, you were talking about like site architecture and the importance of it. Can you walk us through that exactly? Like, what does that fully entail? Like the architecture of a site.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, the site architecture is like the heart of a website, right? It's the blueprint of what your site is about, right? My whole life, whatever we do, like even art or design, we like, especially on websites, like we have to understand like why we're building what we're building, right? Like, which is the most important part. And nowadays with websites and data and AI and all that good stuff, like we need to have a purpose behind it, and every page have to have a reason behind it, right? So most people a lot of times would just jump on just keyword stuff and just throw a billion keywords and locations in one page, and they think that's how things work. But in reality, the web is structure of actual different pages, right? And every crawler crawls these pages, finds them between internal links, and then what it does is he understands what the topic for each page is and connects it with different vectors to understand what the site is about. So for me, the site architecture is like a blueprint that's always changing, right? Like and keeps track of all your pages, right? Like a living document. And I started thinking about that, like when I work at Westgate, we started, I was assigned a website that was not large enough at the time. It had some pages, but I was tasked to actually scale the site up. And one of our major goals was to start ranking for Disney keywords, right? Again, this was timeshare, right? So, and for the people who know, um, you cannot bid on Disney keywords, right? So if somebody's looking for Disney tickets or Disney vacations, nobody can bid on these terms because Disney legal takes them down. But for when I worked at Westgate, we knew that these keywords were part of, they actually brought great audience, right? And great leads to the website. So we decided to start building at scale content silos and pages around these terms, right? So as we start building these pages, I start realizing I'm like, okay, man, we're at like 150 pages right now. I don't know what pages built. I don't know what we're targeting. Now pages some pages now rank for similar terms because the content is not focused enough, right? And that's where, and that was about 10, 15, 10, 12 years ago. It was a long time ago. And that's when I started realizing that every team requires a map, right? You need to have a blueprint for your website to understand how things work, right? Of course, the blueprint after a while, because, for example, if you go to e-commerce, you have hundreds and hundreds of category pages, right? It's kind of harder to manage. But for me, it's still a good practice to have a living document to know what your page is about and what keywords and what's the purpose for each page, right? It gives you a good blueprint, like a manual for your website. Like, okay, this page is supposed to do this. This page is supposed to do that, right? So basically, the architecture sheet is like a master map that ties together, the keywords. The keywords include information like intent, the different intent, like information, transactional, navigational. We assign different layouts based on intent, right? So you will see we have in our spreadsheets, we have a column where we say, okay, this is an informational page. So an information page will be more content heavy on top, and then the call to action more on the bottom. We have the different hierarchies, right? Okay, what's a category, and what's a subcategory, and we group them based on themes, right? And also we structure them in a way where, for us, I like to automate a lot of the internal linking, right? And I know there's a lot of tools that do linking with specific, defined, the topical clusters and automatically do all of that. I like to structure in a way where we write different scripts where automatically, based on what the page is about, automatically can create internal links and do that. And that's one of the reasons a lot of people work with us, that automation and figuring out what works, right? And then the rest is, the other part is, when I work with these spreadsheets, is as you do all this keyword research and you look at competitors and stuff like that, you always come back with hundreds of ideas for content, right? Always, right? So kind of it's like organizing your garage, and then as you start cleaning things up, you start finding things like, oh, I didn't know, here's all my, plastic lures. I had no idea where they were, so you always find these little nuggets of information that because you looked at literally everything, you might have missed in the past, right?
Can you show us a practical example of one? I know you pulled one up last time, but I think it'll be great to put into context on exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I can do that.
And I would also like to know, where do you start, right? Because that's the biggest challenge I would say I would face. How am I going to put this thing together? So let's say it's an existing website. How do you make sense of it?
If
Because I think that's
said that
really
again,
important.
the one website, what type of website?
Let's say if you have an existing website that you are
Yeah.
working on, right? So where do you start? How do you put
Perfect.
this thing together?
All right. Yeah, I can show you that right now. So let me share my screen here. Alrighty. I think now you can see.
For our listeners, just wanted to make sure they're aware that Alex's dog is in the room, and the occasional rumble that you
Blowing.
hear, it's not Alex's stomach. It's
No.
It's a Frenchie.
the pup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little doggy snores.
Yeah. she will not leave the room. So I took her outside. She opened the door, came back in. So,
Yeah.
right. So,
All right. So what are we looking at?
this is again, I cannot share a lot of that like clients items here. This is
Sure.
This was an older variation of what we currently use. This is my original Pixel Sales website. When we started, I think this architecture was built like 7 years ago, but it kind of shows like the basic structure, right? It gives you like any notes you want to add in here. It gives, I start with the page name, right? And then the URL structures, right? I know this is a little bit old school where we still focus on a single keyword because of the volumes, but in reality, what we write more about the topic, not specific for the keyword, right? But we still target it this way because it's just a little bit easier to say, okay, like internal marketing service, for example, like who is ranking there? What's the top website for it? What type of content do they have? What is included in the content? And then as we have that information, we also gather info like, okay, like what do we do different than these people? How do we differentiate the content? Because, and by the way, this is something that a lot of people miss, right? I mean, we build a lot of websites sometimes in same industries. I got to tell you, I have never met a company that has the exact strategy with another company ever, right? Everybody's different, right? So the problem is understanding and defining what different is, right? What's your different? So for us, by gathering, and with our clients, we gather information about them. We try to understand what they do. We try to understand, like, again, what the differential points that we can use in our advances for the content, and then gather like what Google already thinks or the search engines think it should rank for, like ranks, right? And based on all that, we're able to draft out better content for the specific layouts and rank it, right? Because again, as I said, like if your strategy, and again, this is more my take on this, like Google tracks our whole sites, right? It tracks our traffic, it tracks our conversions, it tracks time on site. So I believe like when you rank a page, Google will go there and see, okay, does this page fill in the intent of the user, right? Like the user was looking to find a company for, I don't know, for entering marketing services. Is your page good enough to fulfill that? And did that person convert, right? So all these points, I like to consider them and take them in consideration before we build something. A lot of times, like especially in these terms here, and by the way, a lot of these pages are, this was some of my initial experiments, right now, these were nice silo structures, but in our new builds, we have removed like 90% of these pages. We keep it much simpler, right? But when you start looking on keywords like SEO services Orlando or web design services in any city, right? You see that Google's intent at that point is they're giving out a list, all the sites that are lists of companies in the area, right? Because for them, the user is actually looking to find a reliable source of information on the top companies in the area. So if you are a web design agency, yeah, you can have some landing pages, and in some cities they will rank above it, but majority there's going to be these sites that are actual directory listings, right? And these actually switch all the time, right? And I don't know if they're doing tests or why, but again, by having that keyword in here, you could start looking at the search results and analyzing what's the top 5 competitor sites. and understanding now not only what the page is about, also can you rank for that page? You understand if that page, is this a service page or a blog page, right? If it's a listicle, well, yeah, maybe you need a support page and then you need to build a blog out, right? So by creating this type of structure first, it allows us to do a content and design gap analysis to understand exactly what's the intent for every page, right? So yeah, so that's how they look like. I mean, and this is very simple here.
What's column F? I'm kind of curious on that. You have ML.
Oh, so here, like again, as I told you, this is a little bit of an older, more old school, like a sheet here, but the E has the keyword. Like, so if we're building a page about internal marketing, we want to target the keyword internal marketing services. So our content is about this. And this is the keyword difficulty and the search volume, right? Nowadays, we usually look more just a search volume. I don't care about the difficulty. And then also we add a column for intent, right? Because that allows us to understand what type of layouts you want to build for the specific page, right? So after we do all this keyword research and we say, okay, this is what we want to target, then we add notes to say, okay, this page is good. Here's the content. But if we go, let's say that we search this keyword and we see that we land on the search results, and the search results now, like there's 15 like websites that are blogs with a listicle or some type of blog content, then we know that building a page like this is pointless, right? Because that's not going to rank, because the intent is different. So we go back and forth and we make adjustments based on what we find on the research, right? So, and that's why I say this is a live document. A good example of this is, and I will bring back to the Westgate, when we started doing pages about, like Disney tickets, right? So initially we have these pages that were saying, oh, come buy discounted tickets, right? And this page will rank well. But then we started realizing that a lot of times, like we will lose ranking and traffic on these pages. And when we start analyzing why, we start seeing that basically it would flip flop. It would change the intent of a keyword for the search results. So like at one point it was looking for an e-commerce type of layout, and in other points is started ranking pages that talked about the different pricing, right? So we started running different tests where we just changed the layouts, right? And actually the layout changes will move the pages up and down. Like, if you were position 6, whatever, you change the layout, you will be back in top 3, right? Based on the intent changes. And again, and you need something like this. And within Westgate, we have other tools where we would monitor our top keywords and pages, right? And we would look at them to see what changes we need to make if we lost any ranking, right? But we couldn't do it if we didn't have a structure like this to know exactly what page is, what are our pages and what's the purpose of each page, right? So this is how the document looks like. I know you talked about like how do you start an existing site, right? And that's well, that's a very very, it's a little bit harder to do, because like we have to find out what the like, first of all, you need to crawl your site. So, here's the crawl of the site. You need to have all the pages that are on, on your existing site, right? Then, you clean up things like, like an author page, 2, 3, whatever, you remove all the stuff. And then you go and you start organizing everything by the type, right? Okay, this is about, I don't know, web services. This is our about pages. This is about SEO. This is about internet marketing. So you start creating these groupings of your pages, right? And then what I like to do is like once you have this structure here, I usually work with with Ahrefs. And what I will do is I will go and create a list of inventory on what actual what pages on your website actually rank for things, right? Because if you want to expand the site, you want to ensure that you're not going to remove a page that's already ranking, right? And something that I always try to do is I try to minimize the redirects as much as possible, right? Like I don't want to, and to do that, there's a lot of creativity on, okay, like you have the SEO page on this structure, like how do you keep it without changing it and avoiding redirects, right? So, but having the inventory of your keywords for each URL becomes very important. So now between, you organizing items, knowing what pages rank for what keywords, then you can make decisions on, and then the analysis, like looking, okay, what ranks for the specific keywords. Now you can make decisions on what pages to keep, what pages to rework the layouts and content, and also what pages actually that don't need to be there and maybe they need to be converted to something else. Like if the intent is not there, there's no point of rebuilding a page. If everything, for that specific term you're trying to go after is a blog, there's no need to have a service page. It will never rank, right? So yeah, it's a little more intensive, but it takes a little more time, but it starts by organization. You see, everything is organization. And then you adding the items and you find what's going on. And then again, as we come up here, I want to show you this. Like, this is what I was telling you. Like, we find other competitor sites. Okay, like you say, okay, oh, that's cool. So you start breaking down all the content ideas, right? So, and again, this was done in 2022 or something like that. Like, so you start finding these ideas to say, oh, okay, like these people here are getting like all this traffic on a simple blog, like the steps for successful web design process, or how to write the perfect call to action with examples, right? 10 business goals you can achieve with a website redesign, right? So now you start creating content that supports your internal pages, right? So knowing what keywords you're tracking here, you can start understanding what your competitors are writing about it and creating supporting content that actually, and it's not, and again, I know this is SEO, but it's so truly SEO. It's like if you want to get somebody for WooCommerce SEO services, okay, like what are they searching before they get to that search, right? How do you get to your audience? And for me, that's SEO, right? Like it's not just ranking for the keywords, is how do you, add little breadcrumbs everywhere so your users find you to land on the money pages. So that's how, I think that answers the question you have, right?
Yeah, it does. I had a follow up on that. So how would this be scalable for let's say when you have an e-commerce website, right? Now you have 50, 500 products. So is I mean, I'm assuming it still applies, but is there like a real world application for it in e-commerce? I mean, for service based, I mean, you have 20 pages, it's fine. But now when you're working with 50, 500, 100 products, does that translate well?
I still use the same process, but it's just much, it's in big, like, so what I would do is instead of I will have a main sheet, and then I will just start breaking down my categories by type. Like, for example, we work with Real Stack. It's a platform for land websites, right? And we have large clients, and we do a lot of SEO work with them. And what we do is we create, like, there's different tabs per location. Because, for example, if you sell land in Florida, right, there's all the cities. There's the different land types. So we do the same thing, but we keep track of everything in separate spreadsheets. And mostly at that point is to just ensure that everything is optimized correctly, right, on that scale, because it's categorization, right? So it's pretty much automatic. There's not much to build there, and like especially in e-commerce categories and the largest scale sites where they have these type of pages. They're just list pages categories, right? So you have a title, you show your product, the filters, maybe some supported content. A lot of people like to add that content on the bottom a lot of times. When we design new sites and in my sites, I like to include like content within the actual product search results. So now the content becomes part of the experience, right? Because I think that adds to, like, again, I'm not just building a page to rank on Google. Like, I don't care just for that. I want to rank on Google, and I want somebody that lands on my website to like what I've done so they can purchase and first of all, to trust us, right? And then to purchase, right? So I try, like, we'll have like some of the products, and then one product will be gone. It will be like maybe some upselling points or some text, right? And then another 5, 6 products, and then maybe 2 products are gone. Now there's more SEO content in there, right? So that adds to the experience versus just like focusing 100% on SEO. As I said, like in my mind, SEO is everything. It's not just the keyword stuffing. Is how do you, from the search engines all the way to the conversion, right? That matters 100%. So yeah, it's just bigger spreadsheets, and at that point, as I said, it's more top level, because if you design it correctly from the beginning, it's very easy to manage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it builds a solid foundation for you to work off of, because everything is right there, laid out in front of you, and it's hard to miss otherwise. So, interesting.
Yeah, no, and especially if you structure it correctly, like with the spreadsheets, like as I mentioned earlier on, like I like to automate all my internal linking. Like, so if I create pages in Florida, whatever, I don't know, land pages for a city in Florida, well, and we have county pages. Well, we try to automate that to say, okay, if if we have a page for or land in Orlando, whatever, we're going to have internal links to the county pages that are related to that area, right? So, and the cities that are around there, and then every sub like category under Orlando, we have like land for sale or farms for sale. So, like, when we plan this, we also automate all of this internal linking, right? So there's no other way to do that in scale, right? Like, there's absolutely no way to scale that up. There might be some tools and stuff, but I think if you plan it right, you can just use simple scripts and automate the whole internal linking process. But again, from within the content, a lot of times we'll go and link to other relevant pages and stuff if needed. But majority of the internal linking is done by breadcrumbs and automatic, kind of like links that on the footer or around the pages. But that
Gotcha.
guarantees scalability and crawlability, right? Like, can my page be crawled and found by 5 different pages, right? Easily. So
Interesting. I see a lot of common mistakes whenever we're doing audits and consulting with clients. We see this a lot where there's the intents all over the place, right? It's not there, and as you said, internal linking it is not set properly. Now you're just missing out, right? And I think you used the term once where they're pretty sites with no SEO backbone, right? It's it makes it makes that, but also you know like I think one of the most common things that I see is duplicate like categories or like pages that are very similar, and now you have pages within the same site cannibalizing each other for a lot of times the same keywords, and they're both the pages are missing out, right? So what's your strategy for that? Like, let's say if you have, a legacy website, right, that's got some rankings, and now you have a secondary or tertiary page that has the same keyword intent and is targeting the same keywords. Like, what should be the objective there? Like for a customer, like do a redirect or keep both pages, maybe go for longer tail on one. Like, where's your head at with that?
Well, as mentioned before, like for me, I always start on structuring everything there and understanding, like, for example, if you have a page that you target, like web design in Orlando, let's say, for example, and now 2 of your pages are ranking for that, I mean, that's not really a good idea, right? So in that case, what I will do is look at historic data to see like which page is actually, which one of the two historically has been ranking better, and which page of the two is actually ranking better right now, right? And then what I would usually do is like figure that out, right? Keep the one that has been historically like more popular, right? Because most likely has more backlinks, more internal links to it. And then I would look at the content and understand, okay, like, is this, how can we take, kind of merge the content for both, right? But also while I'm doing that, I'm going to again, like look at the search results to see, okay, like what, like the pages I'm competing with, what are they about, right? And then I'm going to break down their content. I'll usually look at the top 5 people, kind of like simplifying it. And now with AI, it's super easy because you can just drop it there and say, okay, like, tell me what this page is about. And we can just break it down. And then you can put tables right next to each other and see like what content is missing. And I know there's other tools like SEO Surfer and all the stuff. They already do all of that. So you can visually compare like what your competitors are doing. And then I will bring in my information and data and differentiators and rewrite and redesign the layout, right? Now, once one of the 2 pages is gone, I will do a 3-1 redirect, of course, to the page that we selected. And then the other thing I will do is I always, because a lot of people miss that, is crawl the website and find any internal links that went to the page that you redirected and point it to the new page you changed, right? To the new URL. So again, you want to avoid like the crawler finding redirects, right? Like, so, and you want to link always to the correct content. So that's what I would do, because that way, you don't want to compete with your own pages, right?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
so ultimately, like when you have that duplicate content, it's competing with itself. So it's not doing as well as it could if it was just a singular entity.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and again, I don't want to pretend I'm the master on the algorithm, because I'm not, right? But from what people are saying and what I have from my experience I've seen is that if you have 2 pages targeting the same content, Google doesn't know which one of the 2 should rank for the specific keyword, right? So you're competing with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and I know now that, it's much smarter, it might not even rank that page anymore. Like back in the day, that happened, but in a lot of instances right now, it might not even rank that specific page, because now you understand there's no more value. You already ranked for this page, so there's no value for this page. Why should I rank it, right? But with that, I have also seen instances, and I'm battling a huge one right now for my website, where like Google will rank your homepage for a massive term, right? Even though you have internal page that you're trying to rank that term. And because of that, because usually the homepages are not really designed to rank for a specific keyword. They're designed mostly for brand, right? And even if you try to change it, it becomes very difficult, because again, you're a brand and you offer like multiple services or products, right? So we are trying to battle a case where it's ranking, the homepage for a massive keyword, where we wanted to rank an internal page because our internal page is actually built to justify the intent and the question somebody will have when searching a specific term, right? But Google won't change it, right? Like, and we have tried in internal links, external links. It just doesn't change. And again, that's rare. And a lot of times it becomes, like, what do you do? Do you remove the other page or do you keep it, right? And I will tell you, I tried to remove it, and when I removed it, I lost rankings on the homepage, right? So, and we test that out, and you lose traffic, and it's very stressful. But if you do it right, I mean, and you measure within a week, 2 weeks, you can bring your page back and see it being crawled again, be found again, which is incredible. It's actually, and that's why I'm saying, like, these spreadsheets are like they're alive, right? Like, they're always change and adjust.
Mhm. And it gives you like an opportunity to look exactly like what you're doing, to see what's working, what's not working, and when you're making changes, whether it was a good choice or not.
Exactly. Yep. And you have to also question everything, right? Like, you have to always itch to see what happens, right? Like, you cannot be scared. I think that's the other thing. And test, so 100%. That's something that people have to do,
Mhm.
Um,
How important is doing tests and experimentation with this?
um, I I love testing. I mean, it's marketing, right? Like, we're marketers. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a web designer or SEO, paid ads person. I mean, we're marketers, right? And marketing is creativity, so you have to always test, right? Like, and sometimes it's it's hard. Here's what I think the problem is, especially marketing. It's a lot of times it's difficult to do a test, like I just said. Like, for my sites, I removed the full page that brought a ton of traffic, right? Well, it's my company, right? So I was able to make that decision. But I make these decisions and take the risks because I know that if the solution is found, right, I'm going to take the bread from my competitors, right? So you have to, it's important to test. You just have to weigh out your tests and actually have some research behind it, right? Like, okay, why are you doing this versus something else, right? So yeah, I mean, you always test. I mean, paid ads people test, right? Like, so why shouldn't you test on SEO? Like, change your layout, see what happens. Compare your layout to somebody else and change it up, see what's the issue, Um, so that's what I'm saying. We have to do that. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing here.
That's pretty interesting. Do you so I guess if you're starting small, right? I think if you're making a sheet, like if you don't have an architecture sheet, as Alex said, I think you can start small by having one tab for all the keywords, one tab for the site structure where you got all the pages listed out, and then another tab for internal flow, right? And all of these could be laid out using some tools, and start from there, right? Start putting the puzzle together. So I think if you have a small website, that should be very manageable. And would you agree? I think that's a good starting off point.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. Like, if you're a small company, like, you need to, and this is what I see a lot of times. Sometimes, that were, um, uh, what they're going to do is, like, they have like a main services page, and they don't, and they don't have and the services page, like, you don't have internal more pages under, like, just services, and you just list your service. Like, expand that out. Like, explain what services you do, include, what areas you want to target, whatever. And also, why, again, like, why your company versus somebody else? And I saw a good example. I'm helping my brother. They have a remodeling company in the Sarasota area, and we found this guy that, I mean, he has a site. I mean, it looks like crap, right? Like, looks like crap, but the guy's ranking for everything. Of course, it's an old site, has a lot of links, and I don't think that necessarily has links that they're like, I mean, unless there's some hidden networks, whatever. But they were, in some cases, a little natural, nothing over the top, nothing insane. But we look at the pages, and the pages have, like, they didn't look amazing. The photograph looked good, but what they had was, for every page, they were talking about remodeling a kitchen, had a section that explained on how they actually are the dust-free, like, company, the top dust-free company for kitchen remodeling, right? So, and they have pictures and a video that shows them that they taped everything out, taped out the vents and everything else. And, they had one section that they literally put on every page. So I bet you anything that me as a user, right? Like, because we discussed about my wife, like, remodeling stuff, her first issue was like, okay, like, we have the kids here, we have dust everywhere. How are we going to be in here for 2 months when there's construction happening, right? Well, that page, yes, it targeted the keywords for remodeling services, kitchen remodeling, whatever, but also answered and verified with the users, like, okay, yeah, we know you want the remodeling. We do a good job. Here's our pictures. But on top of it, we are the best at, like, not having any dust in your house while we remodel your home, right? I think for every user that's looking for somebody, just that is just going to increase your leads, right? Like, because now you have answered a question that these people are asking, right? So no, understanding who your audience is and what you're writing, what your page is about is very important, right? So it's not just about, like, yeah, keep it simple spreadsheet, expand your service pages, include why are you different? What are you doing differently? And then on top of it, ensure that everything is, everything is organized, right? Like, so you start small, but definitely expand your service pages, because a lot of people don't do that, right? Every small website comes to us, they're like, we're ranking for nothing. I'm like, yeah, you don't have pages, right? You don't have content. And again, when I talk about content, like, not like ChatGPT, like 100 blogs a month. Like, I mean, that's not going to work, right? It just doesn't work. It might some industries, but 90% of what's out there is just not going to work, because you're just, giving something that makes no sense to users. Nobody's going to read that.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes total sense.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
The wall behind you is really cool, and I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
What is all that?
So before kids, it's a BK, before kids. Here in Orlando, there used to be a lot of stores that were literally from the bottom all the way to the top, filled with toys, right? And there were 2 locations in Orlando. So when a BK, I used to go and explore the stores and find toys, right? And this is part of my collection. I have hundreds and hundreds of Transformers, different from Generation 1, Generation 2, different like Power Rangers stuff, and
Okay.
toys, usually from the 70s all the way to like late 80s and some 90s type of toys. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then there's a lot of cool stuff like that I find, like at Target, like Hot Wheels
I
stuff.
see an
That
Optimus Prime up there.
Yeah, there's 2 Optimus Prime up there. There's, I think, all the way to the left on the, like, there, there. That's an original Megazord. That's an Optimus Prime right there. That's the original Optimus Prime. There's a Voltron back there. There's a couple of Voltrons. Yeah, there. Here's the Moz guy too. I have the little Moz robot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I had a, I don't know if you remember, GoBots used to be
yeah.
a
I have GoBots
card.
too. They're up there.
Yeah, I had a little GoBots collection. It's somewhere in an attic right now. Should
Yeah.
dig it up. Awesome.
I'll buy it, bro. I'll buy them. Give it to me.
I have one question, Alex, and it bugs me. So it was asked by a colleague of mine, local Orlando website. Every kind of black hat you can imagine, right?
Hmm.
That the website has done. It hasn't been updated in forever, right?
Yes.
And it's still ranking. It's killing everybody, and
Yep.
they don't touch it because, like, why do I want to mess this up? Like, they don't want to improve the site. They don't want to do anything because it's just organically just ranking and just killing everybody. And it's got shady links. It's got, you know, keywords, like every black hat trick from back in the day you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's on that website. Why is it ranking still in this 2025? Why do
My
you think?
initial
What's your
guess,
assessment?
like,
Mhm.
so my gut, I know. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people say, okay, it's the links. It could be the black hat links and whatever they're done, right? My initial gut feeling in today's day is that either somebody just hasn't done something better, right? Or that specific page, yeah, initially maybe started with, like, black hat stuff, but it justifies an intent and it does it better than every other page, right? Like, I mean, again, I'm not a black hat expert or anything like that, right? But I think a lot of times that matters, right? Like, maybe that page, like, look at, like, like, you don't need to, again, like, if your page justifies an intent and it does it well and people keep going to it, like, you will just outrank somebody else whose page doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I wish I had permission to share what the site is, right? I don't, but I will, and I'll share with you offline. It's just amazing. I honestly think, and I don't know if it's possible or not. I think for some reason it hasn't been crawled. It's just been missed. It's just skipped by everything, or it's so, and it's not a super niche industry site. It's, it's a very common industry that this site belongs to. Um, yeah, the competition's kind of thin locally, but
yeah.
I don't know if it's possible or not. But I was just curious, like what could be the reasons why a site like that would still be ranking, So
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know, man. I mean, like,
Yeah.
again, like, there's so many factors, like, but the thing is, from my understanding, like, look, like, Google releases so many, like, spam, like, algorithms, right? Like, so I don't know what could they have done, like, 20 years ago or 10 years ago, they did something and still ranks for it, like, other than, okay, maybe, that page just does better what it's supposed to do than everybody else, right? And supposedly the spam filters nowadays, right, from Google, like, they will devalue already. So if it's anything questionable, they will devalue. But again, links and all that SEO stuff works so totally different in this industry. So it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, I always look at intent, right? Like,
Yep.
is that page, satisfy a specific intent? Is it doing better than everybody else? And if the answer is yes, then here's your answer a lot of the times, But again, I'm not discounting any black hat stuff. It's just like, I'm not an expert on it, so I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. I think yeah, makes sense. I'll still curiosity. Um
Yep.
I'm still a little curious about it, but yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, it was, I think, um thanks for sharing all those insights. I think that was, it was insightful.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always good when the insights are insightful.
Yeah. All right. I think we covered pretty much everything. Did you want to, anything we missed that you wanted to?
Or any final thoughts?
Um, No, I don't have anything else. It's just like for us, as I said, like we have like like process. Process is everything, right? Like so, like you cannot build a house without blueprints, right? So it should be the same for your business, and you cannot build a business without a plan. So a lot of people just start building a website without a plan, and that's a mistake, right? So you have to plan. Like everything requires a plan. Making food requires recipes, right? Making a website needs a blueprint, right? So that's very, very important to think of. People miss that 100%.
Wonderful. All right, and that was our episode. Thank you all for watching. I'm Timmy. We had Alex with us today, and we have Naveed producing. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time.